Hi Year 11, welcome to week 4 of homework help. This week's slightly easier. It's a why was this source published, which doesn't require any comparison. It doesn't really require too much reading in as far as many of the sources at this point in time are picture sources, so it's quite straightforward. A few things to draw your attention to that should hopefully set off a few alarm bells. The question itself, why was this source published in 1911? So it's asking for some reasons why someone would go out their way to publish this source. What makes this source particularly special, or what is this person trying to do by publishing this source? What's the reason for it? What's the agenda behind it? Okay. And the other thing that's quite important, so we've got why, and the other thing that's quite important is obviously the date. Why is it published in 1911? Why not 1913 or 1915? What's particularly special about 1911? And as always is the case, use the source and your own knowledge. Okay, remember what we said before, you've spent a heck of a lot of time learning about public welfare reforms, public health reforms, sorry, and this is obviously the time to show them off, so please don't ignore what you've learned previously. You'd do well to remember as well that it is a 9-mark source. So it's very, very important, as is usually the case with all your other 8 markers, but you dedicate enough writing, enough detail to this, okay? The way you can set it up is quite straightforward. You can do a simple why, so you can answer the question using the actual question itself. This source was published in 1911 because, and then you can go into details, so you can use obviously your details from source. And then you can use your contextual knowledge to explain, okay? Or you can do it in any of those order. It's whatever suits you, but you must make sure that you've got your details from source, your contextual knowledge, and that should feed into the explanation as to why it's published in 1911. So moving on quickly, here we can see that the poster itself that's been published in 1911, and a few things that should be quite important. One is the poster itself, as we know, is published by none other than the Liberal Party, okay, in 1911. So it's a poster published by the Liberal Party in 1911. Alright? So as is the case with all the other sources we've come across, particularly the picture sources, you might do well to highlight key bits of it. So what we can see is a picture in the background that says National Insurance against disablement and sickness, or against sickness and disablement, and then we've got 2 characters. The gentleman here, who is, as we've said before, moustache, very bad haircut. You should hopefully recognise this guy as David Lloyd George, who is of course the man in charge of the purse strings at the time. Okay, he's the Chancellor of the Exchequer. He's the man who controls how the budget is spent, how the country spends its money. And then we've got a man in bed who appears to be quite sick. Appears to be a worker. He's from quite modest background. He doesn't appear to be in a massive bed. It's a single bed, and he is being looked after, it would appear, by Lloyd George's National Insurance. So what it's saying, the dawn of hope as well at the top, is something that you should hopefully recognise. It's saying that Britain is essentially in a place where it's about to bring in a new generation, a new light, a new bit of hope for obviously people who've been struggling before. As we know, national insurance was paid for partly by the workers, partly by the employers, and partly by the government, and it provided sick pay for about 15 weeks actually, I think it was, but you might have to check that in revision guide. Remember, you have got that available to you, so your contextual knowledge is going to play a massive part in this, okay? So back to the original question. We've looked at key bits of this source. We can see as well Mr. Lloyd George, his National Health Insurance Bill, there we say, provides for the insurance of the worker in the case of sickness, okay? It's quite a nice source. It's trying to support the new reforms of the Liberal government. Alright? It's the beginnings, essentially, of the NHS. Now, there's nothing about this source that's overtly critical or quite bad, or gives the national insurance cause a bad name. However, with that, you've obviously got a poster from the Liberal government, who are the people who are trying to implement these changes, and that you've got to be quite mindful of. So, why is this poster produced? Well, quite straightforward. The poster is produced to try and get support for the National Insurance Bill. Remember what we said before. It is the dawn of the 20th century. Many people are very, very poor at this point in time and do not want to give up extra money out of their wage. Many workers were reluctant to give up money out of their wage, and many employers were reluctant to give up money out of their wage, or their profit should I say, to pay for this scheme. So it was vital that the government drummed up some support for the National Insurance Bill. Okay, so the poster is published mainly to get support for the government's new initiative. Okay. Now, is it enough just to say that? No, but it's a fantastic start. Okay, the poster is there obviously to get support for the government's new initiative, which should give you a really good avenue then to talk about what is this new initiative, the National Insurance Bill. Okay, you can then use your contextual knowledge to explain certain features of the actual poster and what's happening at the time, particularly in 1911. That bit is quite important. Okay, so remember, use details from the poster, use your contextual knowledge, and lastly and most importantly, answer the question, why has it been produced? Please back that up with some really good contextual knowledge, and please use your revision guides to fill in the gaps if you're not too sure about the National Insurance Bill itself. Good luck.